All right, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome in one of my favorite people, Stephen Moore, Senior Fellow with the Heritage Foundation, former Senior Economic Writer for the Wall Street Journal, and a co-founder of the Committee to Unleash Prosperity. Hello, sir.
Hey, Steve. Great to be with you.
I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad that it's all official. About a week ago or so, you guys finally had
unleashed our website.
You got the website up. Let's put up the website, and there it is. And you could go to Committee to Unleash Prosperity.
You've been to a number of our events here in New York, where we've met with everybody from Scott Walker to,
a lot
John
of the presidential
Kasich
candidates,
and almost all
Bobby
the presidential
Jindal.
candidates. So it's been good. We've been appreciated having you, and we're trying to get them all, to sound this message of, pro-growth economics. And the good news is, you look at these tax plans that have come out from, I think about half of them put out their plans. They're all very good. They're variations on the same kind of Reaganite theme: get tax rates down to promote, more job growth and more economic prosperity. And so we're on our way. We feel like
that's great. And congratulations.
Even Donald Trump is a supply setter now.
Yeah, well, you and I discussed this plan, and you liked it.
Yep.
Now, so it's you, it's Steve Forbes,
Larry
it's
Kudlow.
Larry Kudlow, and
our leper.
And
Larry is, there's a good chance our good buddy Larry Kudlow may be running for the Senate in Connecticut, as you know. So how cool would that be? I mean, can you imagine having Larry Kudlow in the United States Senate?
Larry Kudlow in the U.S. Senate, and you and Steve Forbes and Art, if he wants, in the administration, economic policy, and we will have it made. All right, let's talk a little bit about Ben Bernanke, the former head of the Fed, has written a book, and he's going around telling everybody that will listen that he helped save the world from total economic collapse.
Yeah.
Did he?
Well, that's a bit of a tale, because in fact, if you look at what happened, and there were a lot of people to blame for the financial crisis that began, in late 2007 and through 2009, and the meltdown in the markets. But I think, the Fed and Ben Bernanke are one of the principal instigators here. At the time, as you know, Steve, I was working at the Wall Street Journal editorial board. We must have editorialized at least once a month that the Fed was inflating a bubble, and that bubble was going to burst, and it wasn't going to be a pretty picture. And it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then what happened was the Fed realized there was a bubble, and they tried to prick it, and then the whole thing burst, and we just had a complete catastrophe. A lot of Americans lost their whole life savings in this meltdown. And for the Fed now to say, "Oh, we got there just in time," it's like sort of like the arsonist saying, "I helped put out the fire."
Right.
Now, look, Ben Bernanke did some right things, and then he said in his piece in the Wall Street Journal this week, he said, "Oh, everything's so great. We have only a 5% unemployment rate. We have 2% inflation." Those are numbers, Steve, that most people who hear that say, "Ben Bernanke, do you ever go to a grocery store? Do you ever have to pay the bills? Do you have to pay tuition costs? Do you have to pay health care?" They're not growing at 2%. They're growing at 4 or 5%. Yeah. And of course, the unemployment rate is really 10%.
Well, I want to talk about that separately.
As you know.
Yeah, but absolutely. So let's extend it right now to the Fed, where we are. I mean, the Fed, many people say, missed their opportunity to raise interest rates because of the last jobs numbers and what happened in China and the market collapse. Did they miss that chance?
I believe the Fed has to get off zero. We got to get zero interest
even
rate
under current economic
Yes,
conditions.
I mean, actually, I think zero interest rate policy has actually contributed at these bad times, and the fact that jobs aren't growing at the rate we want them to, that people haven't had a raise now for 10 years, in the last 2 years of Obama, Bush, and the first 7 years of Obama. Show me any evidence that zero interest rate policy has helped the economy grow. I just see no evidence of it. I mean, this is the problem with a lot of these economists I deal with. They have a theory, but they never have any evidence to confirm the theory.
Right. All right. So the unemployment rate, I mean, you and I have talked about this for a long time, but even though there were only 140 some odd thousand jobs created last month, the unemployment rate stays at 5.1.
Right.
It's an artificial number, right?
It sure is. Nobody believes that number, and it's because obviously, we've got such a low number of people in the labor force right now, and they're not considered unemployed. So, we might get the unemployment rate down to 4% before Obama leaves office because more. I mean, we had 350,000 more Americans who dropped out of the workforce. These are people of working age. Now, some of them were retirees, to be fair. Baby boomers retiring. But the biggest decline has actually been among young people.
Yes, and
that's really disturbing.
And the biggest increase in those jobs that are created are going to foreign-born workers.
Yeah, foreign-born workers. And actually, seniors are more likely to be working today than they did 10 years ago, because a lot of them don't have the savings. They were planning on retiring at maybe 62 or 65 or 67, and they look at their savings accounts, they don't have the money. Look, we are not in a healthy economy right now. We just aren't. We we see, you know, the problems in the stock market. We see the kind of anemic growth rates that we've had, and then we've seen, you know, this employment picture, which is barely over the last few months keeping pace with the growth of the people who are entering the workforce. We need a whole new plan. Throw all this stuff out. Get rid of zero interest rate policy. Restore the dollar. Cut corporate tax rate. Pro-energy, you know, I know this is my,
no,
you know,
and
I
that
keep
will only
beating this
happen
drum.
if we get a Republican in the White House.
Yeah, well, I'd like to think maybe even some of the Democrats would do it, but I don't hear any of them talking about this. None of them.
The Committee to Unleash Prosperity, ladies and gentlemen.
Cut the corporate tax.
Check it out. What's that?
Cut the corporate tax right now from 35 to 15.
Okay, you
Trump
got it.
wants to do that.
Done.
Okay.
All right. Stephen
If
Moore,
only you
ladies
could do
and
that
gentlemen.
with a wave of the pen.
We're coming back with more. Don't go away.